Happy Wednesday. I guess we all survived the weather last night. Thank you for being here this morning. Welcome to the Dallas Entrepreneur Center, or the DEC, as many of you know it as and love it as. This is 1 Million Cups. It happens every Wednesday at 9 a.m. without fail. We'll have 2 companies present their ideas on the stage. In case you don't know, the DEC is a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 that serves entrepreneurs. So we are here for people who are serious about starting and launching and growing their business. And today, I just want to quickly recognize that we have 10 8th grade students from Peak Prep. It's an uplift school. So can we please give them a round of applause? And the reason they're here is that they have gone through a course where they've been able to create their own business. So there's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit in the room and at a very young age. So we want to encourage that in them. And so welcome them, and thanks for being here. I don't want to take up too much more time, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over and we'll get started with our pitches. And so the thing about the DEC is that when somebody comes on stage, we have to stand up and give them a round of applause, because it's hard to be on stage. So if you can manage that with your coffee, please welcome Lauren to the stage. Thank you.
Off. We're really happy to have you this morning. Another really great program, and as Brittany said, we're here every Wednesday from 9 to 10 a.m. And if this is your first time, which I know some of you it is, the 1 Million Cups is an educational program produced by the Kauffman Foundation to educate, connect, and engage local entrepreneurs while helping build startups on a grassroots level. And we cannot do this without our wonderful vendors. So big thank you to Curtu for providing the treats every week. And we have Shade Street Coffee Roasters keeping us caffeinated. Big thank you. RevTech is our wonderful sponsor, and we'll have Jonathan coming up at the end to speak for the company. And then of course the wonderful venue and host, the Dallas Entrepreneur Center. So big round of applause for the DEC. And each presenter will have 6 minutes to pitch and then a 20-minute Q&A. And if you do have a question, we ask that you please raise your hand high, and then Christy, one of our other city coordinators, will come around and bring the mic to you. We do film this for our YouTube channel, so on Monday our newsletter will go out with the YouTube video of today's presentations. But first, we'd like to welcome our first presenter, Gotham from Peeyr. So everybody please stand up and give him a warm welcome.
Thanks so much. I just wanted to give a quick thank you to the organizers. This is actually the first 1 Million Cups that I've been to, and the crowd is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. So great job. I just wanted to say that this is an awesome event. As they were saying, my name is Gotham, and I'm the CEO of Peeyr. And Peeyr is a platform that connects highly vetted high school tutors to their peers for in-person affordable tutoring sessions. And to get my pitch started off, I want to tell you guys a story. So, growing up, I went to public school in Kinney, Texas, which is about 45 minutes away from here. And I had a great friend named Ethan. And just to kind of start this off, growing up, I was really academic. I was very academic. There was a huge emphasis on academics in my house. And Ethan was always the kid that was one above me in every single aspect of school. He was the kid that would always beat me on the math test, the kid that I would always envy when we got grade reports, the kid that my parents would tell me to be a lot more like, just the kid that really kind of beat everybody when it came to academics. And he was kind of like this throughout middle school, but something really interesting happened as we started transitioning into high school. And that was, I noticed that Ethan had dipped in his academic performance kind of as he had gotten a little bit older. And one day I was hanging out with Ethan, and I got a chance to visit his house, and I had this huge epiphany. So Ethan lived in a super low income area of McKinney, Texas. Both his parents worked minimum wage jobs, and his support for his academics pretty much stopped the minute he stepped out of school. So this big epiphany that I had was that though Ethan was really, really intelligent, he would always beat me in middle school, the minute we started transitioning into high school, he was at a huge academic disadvantage simply because he was born in a low-income family. And this led me to kind of believe in this really, really big problem, which is that for a lot of kids, getting help outside of school can oftentimes be really expensive and complicated. And for kids like Ethan, paying $75 for platforms like Wisant or going to Craigslist and finding a tutor are just simply not things that he can afford or things that he is willing to do. So this big problem that I had that I wanted to solve was that how do I give people like Ethan an equal opportunity? While Ethan was going home, our entire grade was getting help outside of school, whether it was because we could afford to get an expensive tutor or it was because we could afford to go to a program after school. And I kind of wanted to solve this problem of allowing pretty much anybody to get the help that they needed outside of school. So, kind of the solution that I came up with and what I wanted to do was, I noticed that when Ethan was in school, there was a lot of really, really smart, intelligent kids, but they didn't really do anything. Every time someone needed a tutor, they would go to these platforms and find a professional tutor, but no one really had ever thought about putting a program where you could just get connected with someone who was really smart in your grade. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to find people like Ethan who needed help and connect them with kids who had already kind of aced the courses that Ethan would need help in, and kind of connect them. So we launched Peeyr, which is basically a platform that lets anybody find a very, very affordable peer tutor that has aced the class, aced the subject that they need help in, and get the help that they need whenever they need it, wherever they need it. And so how it works is kind of simple. So we charge every single person who does a tutoring session $25 an hour. And just to put that in perspective, a tutoring session in Dallas is usually right around $60 to $75, so it's about a third of the price. And kind of how our revenue model works is we just take a small little commission every time a user does a session. And just to kind of put things in perspective on how many people that this actually affects, the tutoring market is an industry that grows about 6% year over year. It's going to be a little under $16 billion in a few years. And in terms of high school students, we get 4.1 million new high school kids who are coming into the system that is very, very competitive, where they need help outside of school. So, one thing that we kind of focused on doing was designing a platform that kind of worked for everybody. And a big problem that we kind of faced was, how do we build something that gives students who need help an opportunity while also allowing parents to really, really trust the system that we're building? Because peer tutoring is something that's kind of untested. And today I want to share with you our product, which we actually launched last week. This is our web portal where anyone can basically check out a peer tutor and book a session. And I'm going to kind of take you through it. So basically how it works is if you need help in a specific subject, so let's say SAT, you could select your subject, you could put in your zip code. Just for the sake of the presentation, I'm going to go and put in McKinney, Texas. You can actually select peer tutors in your area who have been vetted through our process. And you can actually look at some more information on them. So for example, on this, you can see that you have their accomplishments and their bio and things like that. From there, you can go and you can select a time that you want to hold your session at. You can actually, so there's an actual list of places that each of the tutors has agreed to go to. You can find a location that they're willing to go to and accept it. Tell your tutor what you're working on, upload files, whether it's homework documents, whether it's tests that you need help on. Put in a quick little message about things that they can help you on specifically, select your payment method, and then book your session. And it's pretty much as easy as that. And one thing that we like to tell everybody about our product is, in terms of how tutoring platforms work right now, we are the only platform that allows you to actually select the time and location before actually booking a session. If any of you are familiar with how tutoring products work nowadays, you actually reach out to your tutor first, find a mutual location and time, which can oftentimes be a hassle, and then go to the place, and then you have a bunch of issues about whether that person's going to show up and all of that stuff. So a big thing that I kind of skimmed over was, how do we actually find these tutors? What's the actual process on actually going through them? That's the time. Okay.
Hello? Awesome. We're going to open it up for questions. Please raise your hand high and I will bring you the microphone.
How do you actually find your tutors?
Okay. Great question. So I was going to hit that in the kind of later on in my presentation, but so a big part of what we're doing, and I didn't get to mention this, but our team's really, really young, and a big competitive advantage that we kind of emphasize on is our youth gives us kind of a very deep understanding of how these kind of kids work. So a big part of what our marketing has kind of entailed is social media, it's referrals, it's focusing on getting an initial user base through our contacts and growing it out through word of mouth.
I may have misheard it, but at one point in the presentation you said that tutors generally work for like 60 to 75 bucks an hour, but looking at the math on there, you're only offering them 15 bucks an hour. So what's their motivation to enroll with your side versus continuing to go for what they normally do?
So that's a great question, and it's probably important for me to emphasize that the people charging $60 to $75 an hour are actually professional tutors. So tutors with degrees, tutors who have gone to college, who have kind of done this for a long time. What we kind of emphasize is a lower price point, and our kind of advantage is that kids like to work with other people who are similar in their age. They understand them, they've gone through the material a lot sooner than the people who have kind of been on a professional level have. They really, really have a deep understanding of what the student needs to learn. So actually in comparison to what a professional tutor might work, that's actually kind of a faulty comparison, but because how tutoring platforms work nowadays is they actually don't include peer tutoring. So this is the first concept that really kind of harps on peer tutoring, and the kind of, in terms of actual high school kids, the only alternative to actually doing something like this is, bagging groceries or getting another job. So this is kind of the first platform that really empowers, intelligent high school kids to make a side income that, includes tutoring.
Awesome presentation, great idea. With your employees, are they independent contractors? And then if they are independent contractors, how does their age impact their legal liability for child labor as well?
Sure. So that's actually a really tricky problem that we've gone through is, yes, they are independent contractors, by the way. So every single person, every single high school kid we employ, independent contractor. There's no actual brick and mortar location. This is all done through software. So in terms of your question about age, we have to include parents in a lot of the process with minors. And it's kind of complicated, but we've actually built in a lot of features into our platform that kind of automate the process and make it as simple as possible.
As a tutoree, how many hours average does someone need per week?
For just in terms of how many, so we actually just launched a week ago, so in terms of actual data, we're actually still collecting that. But in terms of a minimum on a tutor round, we let everyone pick their own schedule in terms of when they want to actually tutor. They get to pick their own locations, get to pick what subjects they want to tutor in. So in terms of a minimum amount for a tutor to tutor in, there is no minimum. You just kind of select your own schedule.
What I'm trying to get at is your example, you have two parents both making minimum wage, and you're charging someone their kid $25.
You're cutting out, sorry, could you repeat that?
In your example, you have two parents making minimum wage.
Sure.
Right? And you have this tutoring that's $25 an hour. So let's say the average weekly is 2 to 3. So now that's $50 to $75 an hour, right?
Sure.
So what percentage of net income is that for the parent? Y'all are low cost, I get that, but maybe some alternatives where someone else pays it, where the kid goes and mows their grass and there's a beneficiary. Because it's still at $25 an hour, percentage-wise, that could be a pretty big percentage of people's take-home income.
Absolutely, and that's actually another thing that we're kind of working on right now is we understand that our solution is kind of oriented towards everybody. We want to emphasize a social component of working with low-income kids. So we've actually included some features on our platform that kind of allow us to do free sessions for the kids that are in the low-income bracket, and that's kind of a social aspect that we're pushing. We understand that $25 an hour it can't be affordable for everybody, but it's a solution that it's something that's a lot more accessible to a lot more people. And as we kind of progress in terms of doing sessions, we definitely want to work on making that even more affordable for some of the more lower income kids.
Hi, my name is Tina and I'm actually an assistant principal and I love this idea. My biggest concern though of hiring outside of school help is I'd like to know how are you going to measure success? So if you're really supporting the students in SAT, how are you really tracking? Do you have all the tools that are really going to be able to get the money's worth from?
Sure. So just to give you a quick little example, so Jonathan is one of the tutors that we actually work with, and this is a problem that I work with him together. And so Jonathan is a Questbridge scholar. He comes from a low-income family. He's going to an Ivy League university. He was one of the first tutors we ever signed on. And he's been tutoring for years. And one of the really, really things that we talked about was how can we, in 1 hour, in a really short period of time, how can we emphasize students actually learning something? And the kind of model we came up with, and this is actually something that happens in every tutoring session, is we actually spend the first 5 minutes of every hour setting up goals for what we want to finish at the end of the tutoring session. And towards the end of the tutoring session, at the last 5 minutes, we kind of do a quick little review of everything that we've gone over. So just kind of like how it works in the classroom, and this is really kind of missed upon in tutoring sessions nowadays, it's really important to set goals, and by the end of the actual period of the tutoring session, go over those goals and review everything that they've learned. And that's just kind of the model that's really, really worked for us really, really well. And everyone kind of, they feel like they learn a lot more in that hour once you set goals and actually hit them and review them.
Yeah, can you tell us about the competitive landscape in the tutoring, the peer tutoring vertical?
Sure. So I'm just going to actually flip to the competition slide real quick. So actually working in peer tutoring, it's actually very, very empty right now. And if you guys are familiar with the tutoring industry, it's very, very fragmented. And kind of how it works is there's 3 very, very large players, Kaplan, Silva, and Wyzan, who control 70% of the market share. There's a lot of smaller companies in the 30% of the market share that has been kind of cut out, but no one is kind of focusing on peer tutoring. So we are the only ones that are identifying high school tutors and high school peer tutoring as our main demographic to hit. There are companies that are working on this in college. Sesh is actually a company that launched out at Stanford. They're about 3 months ahead of us. They launched about 3 months ago, and they're working with peer tutoring on college campuses. But we are the only ones working with peer tutoring in high school, in the high school demographic.
First of all, I think that your presentation, so this is the first time you've done this, is actually really good. So very well done. You're very polished. We've all had teachers along the way, and no offense to the excellent teachers who brought their students here today. We've all had teachers along the way who weren't the best educators.
Sure.
And you laid out a little bit about how you vet these people who are going to work for you. There's a difference in having knowledge and being able to display knowledge personally, and the pedagogy of teaching somebody what you know. How do you know that the people you're choosing are then able to teach effectively the people who are paying them $25 an hour?
So first and foremost, I wish I could have kind of expanded on this in my presentation, but the vetting process that we've kind of laid out is very extensive in terms of how we look at tutors. It's a holistic review of not only their academics, but also their ability to communicate, their ability to actually teach someone. So 2 things that we do that kind of go over your question is we do an in-person interview where we kind of talk to every single one of the tutors, see what experience they've had, see if they've actually done this before, and we do a diagnostic session, which is basically they work with one of our users for a free session. They actually go through, they see, the users give us feedback on how they like the tutor gives us feedback on how they like working with the user, and based on that we kind of decide if they've have the communication skills as well as the academic know-how on how to teach the topics that they need to teach.
My question is around the feedback that you may or may not have received from the schools in the process. I just know that in growing up, you're trying to, as a parent, not that anyone, but you're trying to teach your kids the values of helping others and supporting the community and doing those things. Is there any feedback that you would have received that supports that or not supports that?
In terms of community, a big part of what we like to emphasize is working with a peer kind of creates this culture of helping each other out. So what we've seen so far is a lot of the tutors that are on our platform right now are helping each other out a lot when it comes to even outside of tutoring. So in terms of what we're trying to cultivate, just peer tutoring in itself is promoting a culture of helping each other out. In terms of working with schools, this is actually not really common in Texas, but in places like Europe and in places like, and in other states with systems, there's actually peer tutoring systems put in place for schools. It's becoming a little bit more common nowadays, but it's actually still pretty rare right now, and that is a lot of schools actually promote peer tutoring in their schools because of the great benefits that come out in terms of community and values.
But is it paid?
Sorry?
But is it paid?
There's
The incentives so that.
Sure. It's kind of broad. So some tutors work on volunteer hours, some tutors work on payments. There's no kind of system in place where there's no centralized system, which is what we're trying to create, where someone can sign up to become a peer tutor and get paid to do it continuously.
Yeah, I got 3 kids that have been through high school and college, that kind of stuff. And they've been tutors, they've been tutored. How are you going to manage the gray area? Kids are very creative these days. Money on the table, take the test for me, but since most school now is digital, testing is digital, all these kinds of things. They're very creative. What's your thought on that?
So, in terms of, tutoring is actually a market that it's very, very similar to newspapers. There's a big presence online for online tutoring, and there's still a large presence in in-person tutoring. And kind of my emphasis on why we chose to go the in-person route for peer tutoring is, for a lot of kids, the connection, the empathy that you kind of get from working with a peer tutor is just something that can't be recreated through an online chat or through an online video conference. So, though a lot of people are learning online, a lot of kids still can only learn in person, and we emphasize that our tutors can provide a much better learning experience for the user when the session is in person. So even though a lot of the kids are learning online, a lot of times they need the outside help that they need in terms of school is in person.
It's really more about, it's a financial transaction and the integrity and character involved. How can we,
Nurture that in the right direction?
For students?
Both.
Sure.
Both ways.
I think a big component of what we're doing is the peer connection that you make with someone working with your own age. And this is kind of something that a lot of people miss out on in today's education system. And one of the big parts that I think is when we talk about fixing education, when we talk about making education a lot more equitable, a big emphasis should be on peer tutoring. The knowledge that's given from someone that's in your same age, your same bracket, it's more empowering than when you learn from someone that you can't connect with. So a big emphasis on building cultures, on building those values in itself is working with a peer, someone who's been in your shoes, who understands where you're coming from, who knows how to teach you and how to connect with you.
So congratulations on the recent launch.
Thank
The UI looks great. The
Thank
UX
you.
seems very logical, and I like that you differentiated yourself on the choosing locations and whatnot. Talk a little bit about how you scale outside of the DFW Metroplex. Since you do have that in-person interview, it's very much about vetting that individual. How do you do that at scale?
Sure, so that's actually a question we get a lot from investors. So in terms of scalability, a lot of marketplaces now have issues with, how do you scale a platform while maintaining a really high level of quality? And how we've kind of solved that solution so far is we've kind of implemented processes to allow a lot of our tutors to actually get a lot more involved in the actual process of recruiting tutors. So when we actually get a tutor, for example, Jonathan's actually a great example of this. So Jonathan goes to school in McKinney called McKinney North, and Jonathan actually helps us go into schools, recruit new tutors, and he's kind of an ambassador per se for Peeyr. So every single one of our tutors are ambassadors in themselves. So that kind of helps in terms of actually building this culture of caring about each of the tutors. And what we've talked about doing is as we kind of scale into other cities, the tutors that we've worked with, extensively in Dallas, we're going to actually include them in the process of bringing on new tutors, whether that's in the interview process, whether that's actually helping them verify whether they're doing good on a diagnostic session. So by kind of recruiting these tutors and ambassadors, we're actually creating our own kind of workforce to help us scale the platform and kind of build quality.
Does he have an economic incentive to find and identify?
That's right. So it's a double-sided incentive. More tutors he brings on, he gets a nice little cut from in terms of a referral fee.
Okay, if I'm not satisfied with the tutoring or if I'm not showing improvement, how would you get through the obstacle?
Yeah, so a big emphasis on tutoring nowadays is kind of customer service. And a big thing that we try to say is if you're not satisfied with your session, we'll give you another one. There's a lot of kids who work with a peer tutor, and it might be a great experience, but they're just not the right teacher for that. So our big emphasis is our quality of tutors. If you're not satisfied with one of our tutors, we'll give you a free session to work with another one, or a refund if that's what you prefer.
So the majority of these questions are kind of based on fear, right? What am I getting in return? Am I sure it's the right deal? Are we being cheated in the system? it seems like maybe a rating system much like Airbnb or Uber would be the right solution for the rating, and that makes everybody more comfortable when they get ready to invest.
Yeah, it's a great comment. We're actually building it right now, so transitioning into something that's a lot more based on community feedback is absolutely the way to be. Funny you mentioned Airbnb. That's kind of the platform that we look up to in terms of scaling the experience, in terms of building a great community, even internally in terms of building a great culture. So absolutely 100% agree. We want to be building a community based on love and not fear.
How are the locations picked for Tipper?
Sorry, do you mind speaking up?
How are the locations picked?
Gotcha. So we curate public locations, and a big emphasis is safety and kind of trust. We don't want our tutors working in people's houses. We don't want any interactions to go wrong in any sense of the way. We want to minimize the risk for both the tutor and the user. So we handpick public locations, coffee shops, libraries, schools that tutors can kind of select, and then users can pick, where they get their tutoring session from.
Do you have insurance on that?
Sorry?
Do you have insurance?
So we're a small startup right now, but that's absolutely something that we've talked about doing is scaling insurance for every single one of our tutors and users. But we do not right now. No, we don't.
Question back here?
All right. One thing that you did talk about, and you started with a story, which is awesome. You shared the story of your buddy Ethan. Your story is probably important because you're the base,
Sure.
the driver of that. Like these kids, these students, these people are going to want to be like you. Do you have a great level of success in academia? What is your parents' background? Like, what is your background, and why should they trust you?
Sure, and this was kind of how I wanted to end my presentation off, but how it worked for me is I was kind of the opposite of Ethan. The reason why Ethan's story kind of struck with me was I had the opportunity to grow up in a higher income family. My mom's a doctor, my father's an engineer. I could afford a lot of the outside help that I noticed all of these kids couldn't. You guys are in Dallas, you're probably familiar with a program called Peeyr and Title Farm. It's a very, very expensive SAT program, $3,000 for 4 years. That's kind of how I got my boost in academics. So I had the kind of opportunity to get a lot of help that other kids didn't. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is there's a big expectation on everyone to go to a good university to get a good job, but if we can't nail giving everyone an equal opportunity on the base level of education, then we're failing the system. We're failing the kids who are going through the system. So, even though I had the opportunity to kind of get the resources that I needed to, it doesn't feel right for me to just go on and not provide a solution to a big problem that I see in the system today.
Got a few more minutes for questions. Just a reminder, we do also welcome feedback, so if you have feedback you'd like to give, feel free to raise your hand as well.
So with your friend Ethan, he didn't necessarily have the resources, and maybe his parents didn't either. Sorry. Is there a way for students or tutors to, not tutors, you talked about tutors being able to refer folks, but students being able to refer and earn some money, or potentially along that same vein, a kid may be awesome at Spanish, but he's struggling in math. Can he be a tutor in Spanish and earn credits towards math tutor?
So yes to both. That's actually a big part of our growth right now is referrals. So a user can actually refer a friend, and they both get a free session. So if you refer a friend, they get a free session, you get a free session. That's kind of how it works. And we've also talked about doing a lot of stuff on actually sponsoring free sessions for low-income kids. So absolutely, in terms of emphasizing, referring your peers and actually kind of a trading off skills, that's absolutely something that we emphasize.
Okay, the final question, what can the community do for you?
Awesome. So a big thing on what we're looking for is just tell your friends if you know someone who needs help. Tell them about Peeyr. What we're looking for right now is just to get as much feedback on our product, on our tutors as possible. If you guys have any personal feedback you want to give to me, you can just call or text me at that phone number or send me a quick little email. Also, we have a Twitter that we kind of work support through, so if you ever have any questions, feel free.
Twitter handle.
That's right. So most of it is just tell your friends, give some feedback, and kind of spread the word for us.
Awesome. One more round of applause for Gotham.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for kicking it off. And just for a little coffee break, so you can stretch your legs if you need to before we get to our next presentation. But as he was saying, the conversation on Twitter, we do have some Twitter handles up here. So please, please, please go on to Twitter right now and use the hashtag. Find us, retweet, like, do anything you need to. We're trying to really build the conversation. And also please visit our Facebook page. We have our newsletter and our YouTube that you can subscribe to. And we try to send that out weekly, so really, really subscribe when you can. And then we're ready to kick off number 2, so when you come back to your seats, we want everybody to stand up and welcome Justin. But one more second. Yeah, so the importance of social media here, we really, really want to spread the word and get all of these startups more exposure and just that love that we provide them here as well. So thank you for doing that for us. All right, so everybody please go ahead and stand up for a big warm welcome for Justin of Title Farm.
Awesome. Thank you for having me here today. I'm not sure where to stand. Before I can really talk about what Title Farm is, I think it's important to talk about why we created Title Farm. And to fully understand why we created Title Farm, it's important to understand my background, which is in advertising and broadcast design. And these are the companies I worked for before I started my own company in 2007 called Justin McClure Creative. And we're located in Wichita, Kansas. I have 3 of us there, including myself. And we work with some really great clients and some national brands that we've been privileged to work with. But we have a passion to work with young startups and entrepreneurs. And we wanted to find a way to work with these folks. And these folks, and a lot of these folks, the kind of people that make your city and your town your kind of town. These are also the people that have no advertising budget. Am I correct? So how do we keep doing what we do? We do animation and video, and how can we work with these folks and create awesome content and still keep the lights on at the end of the day? Well, we had to create a new platform outside of TV, which is primarily what we work with. So we had to create a platform called Title Farm, and here's a quick teaser for Title Farm. Stop the clock. Stop the clock. Can you guys hear it at all? Was it making any sound? Yeah. Okay. We're just gonna fake it then. Well, where's the speaker? I think it's coming through that though. All right, go ahead. So there's some awesome music going on here. So Title Farm is a website and mobile app. Right now we're iOS only, we're working on the Android version. But what's unique about Title Farm is that you can upload your own animations to the farm. And then it actually can be used on the app. So, and this is all completely free, by the way. So it's a free platform. Right now we have a bunch of Dallas and Texas stuff we created for this presentation. So, and you can log in and you can update, have a profile, and upload these animations if you know design or animation. As long as you stay with the rules, it's a 5-second animation, and you can make these public or private, and still free. There's no cost either way. So that's the upload process. But what makes this really cool right now is we've added the option to enter a promo code. Now, right now the promo code is just a glorified search engine, but it makes it very easy to find things. So in this case, I encourage you, if you have an iPhone, to go ahead and download Title Farm and enter in promo code Texas. Now, for the sake of time, I've screen recorded the app. This is in real time. So you'll watch here, and we're going to enter in promo code Texas here. And if you single tap on these screens, you'll see a small little preview of what the animation looks like. If you double tap, it'll take you to a bigger screen to see the full animation. From here, we can add any photo that we want to. In this case, I brought in a zoo picture from the Dallas Zoo. And I'm going to adjust the color a little bit, and I'm going to hit create. You'll see that it renders in about 1.5 to 2 seconds. It's very fast. I can now go straight into Instagram and start changing my colors and making it cool and whatever I want to do. I have another example here that goes into Facebook. So this is Taco Tuesday. I pick my animation. I then pick my tacos that I just took a photo of if I'm a taco vendor. And I render this out, and now I go to put on Facebook. And you can tell this is in real time because of my typing skills, because it's awful. I love Taco Tuesday, right? So we've made this super simple, all right? So we made it super simple to share as well. If you've downloaded the app, has anybody downloaded? Raise your hands. Did it download in like, what, 2 seconds? It's 3 megabytes, so it downloads super fast. You don't have to log in. It's completely free, and you don't have to sign up for anything. So we made it really easy to share. So Title Farm really supercharges social media. It converts a photo into a video. And why is that important? Well, Facebook's claiming that right now they're getting 3 to 5 times more interaction and engagement on videos versus still frames, versus still photos. It also increases your brand exposure. We're not stopping anybody from animating or including a brand on anything you want to do. So when you upload something to Title Farm, it can be damn near anything. If you wanted something to explode and just have flames, and you know how to do that, then you can upload that and share it via the mobile device, okay? Increases usability. We talked about Taco Tuesday. If I'm a taco vendor, I just take a new picture every Tuesday, add my animation to it, and add my new promotion on Facebook or wherever it's going to be promoted at. And then increases shareability. You've already seen, we're not holding anybody back from sharing your content. So as long as they have a way to access exactly your content, which is using the promo code at this point, you can tell people to download Title Farm, enter promo code blank, and use my animations. Promote your brand. Right now, we are working with, I live in Wichita, so we're working with the Chamber. We've created a bunch of animations for Wichita, and they're promoting Wichita. Wichita is a struggling community right now, trying to pick up speed and momentum, so we're really trying to get behind Wichita and promote it. One of the things they're doing is we've teamed up with FlipHound, which is a digital billboard, and so we are creating, we're introducing folks to use Title Farm and hashtag I love Wichita. When they do that, the Chamber finds those animations and then uploads them to FlipHound, and FlipHound's putting them on billboards to promote. So that is 2 seconds, and I'm done. Now you're going to ask me how the heck I'm going to make money doing this. Thank you.
All right, we're going to open it up for questions. Please raise your hand high, and I will come to you.
Can I grab my coffee at the same time?
Yeah, go for it.
So how are you making money doing this?
Good question. So my primary business is creating custom animations for all of our clients. So we created this platform so people would come back to us and want to custom design and animate these animations for them. But we've opened it up too. So there's other features, right? We want to make a pro version that would include video. We want to make a pro version that would include audio. We want to start to charge for these promo codes. Am I too loud? Sorry. So we can charge a fee for these promo codes, much like you would a domain site. So if I go to buy a domain, I'd have that domain, I'd own that domain. We can also start to make those promo codes branded, right? So if I entered in promo code Texas Rangers or whatever it may be, I may go to that page and it would be branded as Texas Rangers, and it would be just those animations to use for that event or for that venue.
Do you have like stock animations that people can use, or do I start from scratch?
That's a great question. So we started on this template-based thing. This is what Title Farm was going to be, right? It was going to be all these templates, these fun animations, and people were going to type in where they wanted it and it would animate the type that they made. And we talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, we talked to a lot of people that own their own businesses, and they go, "Oh, this is fun, but it's not my brand, it's not my colors, it's not my font, it's not my logo," right? And that's what they came back to all the time. So we went away from the template version of this, and we said, we're going to make everything custom. And so in your case, if you're not an animator or designer, you're going to have to find somebody who knows how to... Right. And so, but this is the thing. So when we create a 30-second commercial or a 30-second promo for National Geographic, our rate is higher than what it would ever be that I can charge Kurtu. Yes. So, but we also know that we can animate his logo or do some things of promotion in maybe an hour. So the fee is very nominal compared to going out and shooting something, producing it, finding sound and a voiceover and all those things that go into those expenses. So we've created it very easy. I mean, it's still a minimal expense to get your branding out there and to have people share it too.
So pretty much as long as you have a logo or some stuff in stock, you can get started.
Yeah, and a lot of this can actually be done. I mean, Photoshop's allowing you to do so much more these days. You can actually export animations out of Photoshop. So as long as you make a timeline, it doesn't even have to move necessarily. As long as we're playing by the guidelines to upload to the website.
So we have Snapchat, who's like really popular right now.
Right.
And they're opening it up to where you can add animations, where like anyone can upload stuff and send it on location, etc. Is there a way you can leverage that platform, and how do you guys come into play between Snapchat and you?
We're hoping Snapchat really likes what we're doing. There's a little bit of redundancy starting to happen, right? So Facebook has Game Face now. They're starting to introduce Game Face because people are very passionate about doing their sports teams and whatever. So now you can upload your profile picture. It adds, Texas, whatever it is. So yeah, there's some momentum there, and there's also the geo-tracking, which is another thing we're working on, is search by location. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. I mean, there's major players that are heading in this direction, but I think we're making it really, really easy and simple for young designers and animators and entrepreneurs to just jump on board. Because right now, all we're concerned about is creating a community. If I was just doing this to build an app to make money, I wouldn't be doing it this way. I'm trying to build a community based on what I love doing and what I do every day that helps me expand my creative services to my clients that I didn't have a reach to reach, 3 months ago compared to what I have now.
Two different questions. The first is, are you familiar with the service Canva that does the template? Okay, so that's one. And the second is, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that and their business model and how that relates or doesn't relate. And the second is, can you link videos? As in, if you create one animation, can you then start to create your own 30-second animation by linking a bunch of these together?
That's where our template-based thing was going when we originally started. As far as Canva, there's a lot of apps out there that you can draw on and type on and make things, and some of them animate, some of them don't. But none of them allow you to upload custom content. Right? So for me, being an animator and designer, I was like, this is fun, but this can take me forever because I don't know how to use this. I know how to use After Effects, and I know how to make really cool stuff in After Effects, but how come I can't take that content and put it over a photograph? And how come I can't share that with anybody that I want to share it with? And so that's really where the inspiration came from. So while some of those tools are really cool, it kind of goes back to that thing I mentioned earlier. It's not my logo, it's not my brand, it's not my font, it's not my colors. And so it's really hard to cultivate based on some of those apps that allow you just to type in stuff.
Canva allows you to upload your logo and colors.
Yeah, so it's a still image though, right? Yeah, so it's not animated, yeah, right.
I think following up on where he was going is, does your platform works with still photos and turns them into videos, but do you have plans to allow people to take the videos and combine them with the titles as well?
Right, so we actually have that technology. We have that technology. We've already had video available to trim it, make it 5 seconds, put the animation over video. Is that what you're mentioning, like just making it, taking video and doing it with it?
I have a clip, I want to take 5 seconds of it.
Yes. So our first version, our beta version even had that. Unfortunately, because of the time it was taking with some of these 4K cameras and the data from those, from the information, Apple denied it. And even though it was working and functioning, it was taking too long, so they thought it was timing out. So we're working on that, and we have the technology to put that in place. It's just making it a little bit more streamlined.
It seems like you guys have a pretty incredible platform here. But are you familiar with Fiverr?
What is it?
Fiverr?
Fiverr, the $5 make something for $5 and yeah.
How do you guys differ from them? Seeing that they're so cheap and they can possibly offer a similar service, but not exactly like yours here. How do you guys differ from them? How do you guys plan on open capacity?
That's a great question, because there's a lot of platforms out there where people are, designing logos for $25 and what have you. And so one of our goals is to connect people who want animations with designers and animators who can create those animations, and creating a platform where they know what they're getting. So, if we can get the cost down to, be what it needs to be, and we still need to do some research on that, then we can open that up and have those people connecting. And maybe there's a small fee that we could charge to be the middleman to make that happen. Is that kind of where you're going with that? Yeah. Yes. So there's a lot of people want to do work, and there's a lot of people that need their logo animated. And if we can connect those people, it'd be pretty powerful.
So I think this is a really great idea. I think it's really useful for sharing and adding extra value to your posts, and So I'm wondering, are you able to go in, because I know you kind of touched on it earlier, but are you able to go in and customize your text and add in your own custom text and change colors and things like that now currently?
Only if you're able to do that as a designer and animator. So there's not like a template-based thing where it's like, here, type in your stuff and make this happen.
So I'm
all
an animator and designer myself, so
Okay.
I know how to do all of this.
Good.
I have no problem doing it.
I'm going to
now.
talk to you afterwards.
So for me, it's like, as a designer, I want a lot of control over it, so I can see how I can custom, I can export exact sizes that I want, custom,
Yes.
if I want to do a square for Instagram or more horizontal for Facebook and all these things. So for me, it's not a problem, so I can exactly render exactly what I want out of After Effects. So I'm wondering, as a designer or animator, why would we want to use this app? I think it's great.
That's fine.
So as opposed to somebody being able to get in and customize their text and do all of that,
Right.
rather than trying to contact me, hey, can you animate my logo for me, and then upload it to Title Farm.
So I'll give you a good case study. So we are, I guess it's public knowledge now, we are working with Freddy's Frozen Custard. They're located, and their headquarters are in Wichita. Does everybody know, is Freddy's here in Dallas? Anybody know? No? Okay, well. So they have not only employees, but vendors, but also franchisees, right? And they have stores all across the country, right? But having this on the go, having an app that they can do for social media, that the logo's not going to change, right? The fonts aren't going to get screwed up. It's not going to turn pink all of a sudden. Having those securities and knowing that the brand stays on brand and allowing other people to then engage with that brand and publish content is huge, right? So you're exactly right. Why? But if I'm in After Effects and I can do this all by myself, why would I need to do on the app? Well, there's a lot of people that can't do it, right? But you're creating content for the taco vendor who wants to do Taco Tuesday and some other thing for Monday and whatever. So you create custom animations that they can use over and over and over again. And so it's the reusability on their end to update it and take a new photo and then make it theirs and repost it. So hopefully that helps kind of explain. The big thing is staying on brand. There's a lot of folks who are like, yeah, let's do a template, and then you ship it off, and it's like, well, why is that fun? As a designer, like what they just do, they screwed up everything. So you're giving them too much freedom and flexibility.
Were there any issues that you ran into with doing the customization? Were there any issues you ran into with doing any customization of the text, or them being able to change colors, or just for people that just want to put anything they want, have a nice day, guys, and post their selfie? Was there any issues that you ran into with being able to add that functionality into the app?
Well, so we know that that's coming. We know we need that flexibility to do more the template-based stuff, right? There should be a fun side, there should be a custom side, and there should be, hey, if you don't want to go this route, here's some fun text that you can add. So we absolutely are going to work towards that, but right now everything's custom.
Hey, Justin. Great job. For Snapchat to be interested in this, or any M&A team or big brand, something that they're going to want to see is a large user base. So here's my feedback, take it for what it's worth, is after the video displays, share the artist logo next to your logo, and it's, gives them a little prop, and people can point to what they're doing, and gives you props, so they'll go download, download here. This is the artist who created this logo. So now they're getting business, you're getting business, grows your list, collect that list, build that list, because that, when you have a million users, now that's really interesting.
Right. And so on the website, when people upload content, if you go to Title Farm, it does publish the artist. You click on the artist as a profile page. It can link to all their information, their website, their Twitter handle, all that fun stuff. But you're talking about when they actually post it via social media. Yeah, and so
this is free, created by these
right.
people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And or remove that water logo for $1 a month.
Right.
2 questions.
Okay.
One, where do you see your business in 10 years from now? Do you see yourself with another business, or do you just see yourself by yourself?
That's a good question. We're really trying to figure out what Title Farm is going to become. We did this out of, there's a great article on Motionographer. We were published as this, the new model for small shops, just right before the end of last year. And the reason for that was we created this. We didn't create Title Farm out of desperation, but we created Title Farm out knowing how the industry is changing and where it's going. And so that's a tough question. 10 years is a long time. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 10 months. But we're definitely open to partnering and figuring out how to work with a larger company, corporation, especially with Title Farm. But Title Farm is certainly going to be a separate division than just McClure Creative. I mean, that'll always be me. That's my baby, so.
And second question, as you know, there is a thing called Scratch, and it's coding. And I can tell you used to put animation in your pictures. Also, coding does the same thing. You put animation in the picture. So you just put a picture in the background, and it's like a slideshow where it shows different animations. Is yours similar to that, or how can it be different?
I need to research that. It's called Scratch?
Yes, it's a coding website.
Okay. So I'm not very good at coding. I'm very good at moving pictures around on TV, but I'm not very good at coding. So I'll have to look into that. Thank you.
The final question, what can the community do for you?
Really the reason I'm here is we're building this community. We want to get artists and designers involved and let people know about what we're creating. Are we looking for funding? Yes, but are we set up for that right now? No, we're not. But the biggest thing is the community, and the biggest thing is just creating awareness and to kind of figure out where Title Farm is going to go. Every week we get hit with somebody else that says, let's do this, and we're like, holy cow, I never even thought about doing that. And so it's just continuing that conversation and continuing to explore what Title Farm can become.
Awesome, one more round of applause for Title Farm.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Justin. And just to wrap up the program today, we want to invite our sponsor, RevTech, up to the stage to talk a little bit about his business. So everyone, please welcome Jonathan. Big round of applause.
Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan Fine. I'm the Director of Business Development at RevTech. We're a venture fund and seed accelerator, and we focus on the retail and restaurant industries. If you or somebody you know has a product, a company, software that can change those industries, I want to meet you. We are currently accepting applications, and our deadline is May 1st. So it's in 4 days. So it's going up pretty quick, and we've already accepted 2 companies into our program for this year. And like I said, deadline's right around the corner, so if you know anyone, I implore you to get them to apply. We have a monthly happy hour on the 2nd Thursday of every month, so 2 weeks from tomorrow. So everyone just get that in your head. So I think 2nd Thursday every month, free drinks on RevTech. And thanks to the deck, Kneeling Cups, and great presentations this morning.
All
All right, and then we can't do this without you and without our wonderful sponsors and applicants. So if you would like to apply or know someone who would like to apply, they can visit our website or email us at dallas@1millioncups.com. And yeah, like, share, follow, do anything you can. We want to keep seeing this audience grow, and we're doing everything we can to help it. So big thank you to our community and to the deck for making this happen every week. Thanks, and see you next week.